compound interest. Yesterday we learned two different ways of interest, and we are going to touch on those subjects again, or touch on those two again. And whose birthday is closest to today in the future? Yes. In March? Okay. February what? Okay, February 7th, so compound, you're going to print that out and you're going to be like, hey, look, it's my nose. Unlike yearly interest, and who remembers what yearly interest was called from yesterday? Yes. Annual, that is annual, but simple interest. Simple interest, there's a form of interest where money is earned from the bank more than once a year. And more than once a year is the compound interest. Compound interest can also be earned semi-annually, quarterly, and even monthly, and makes more money a lot faster than simple interest. And the back part of your homework tonight, you're going to be able to see the same exact amount of savings starting amount and how much more money you make if you have compound interest. Those quarterly, and even compound interest. I think they do one that's monthly. No, that'd be too much work. You do like simple, you do semi-annually, then you do quarterly, and you'll see just how much more money you make each way. This form of making money is a great example of a term called investing. There are some people who have so much money that they just have their money sit at a bank and earn interest. Okay, and that's them making more money, and that interest, they have so much money there that the interest is actually more than the money they spend on a daily basis, that sort of thing. Okay, and that's when people have hundreds of thousands or millions of whatever stuff in the bank. That's how that goes. To see how this works, look at the example below. This is something, it would make a lot more sense if we had a lot more money in here, but let's be realistic. You could be putting $500 in the bank. Okay, you could be putting $500 in the bank, so just imagine that this is you. You have a beginning balance of $500 in your savings account. The interest rate is 5% per year, compounded quarterly. Now, this point here, quarterly, on the homework, there's a lot of people making some mistakes with this. Okay? And I want to talk about what that means to have a quarter of something. Okay? So let's say that Caitlin and Caleb you have a sandwich and you have a sandwich. Okay? You ate a quarter of your sandwich. You ate a quarter of your sandwich. Who ate more? Did they eat the same? But the thing is, Caleb's sandwich was a 12-inch at Subway, and Caitlin's was a 6-inch at Subway. See how they didn't eat the same? They ate the same amount of their sandwich, but they didn't eat the same amount of food. The reason why I say that is this. If you have a quarter of a year, that's every 3 months. And on the homework, fourth period, people were doing divided by 3 instead of divided by 4. But when you have a quarter of something, you divide it by 4, don't you? Okay, so I just want to point that out there. Just because every 3 months is a quarter, that means if it's compounded quarterly, you don't divide it by 3, you divide it by 4. First, we need to find the simple interest. So we take 5%, which is represented as a decimal, as 0.05. I'm going to put the 0 at the beginning as well for this first part so we know that it's not 0.05 or something, whatever. So we need to multiply the current balance by 0.05 to find simple interest. This is yesterday's lesson. So we have 500 times 0.05, and I'm going to use our percentages estimation. And I'm going to do, 1% of 500 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25, so I know it's $25. And that's faster than getting out a calculator. since we are being paid every 3 months, see this part right here? See how that could mess you up? We're being paid every 3 months. Or each quarter, we need to take a fourth of the simple interest that we earn for the quarter. From the amount found above, which is a year. So does it make sense that a quarter of your year's interest would be a quarter of the year, that interest, right? So you have your whole year, but we're breaking down into quarters, so it's just that quarter of that year. All right. To calculate the quarter one interest, we divide the simple interest by 4. You divide the simple interest by 4. That is going to be the difference between correct answers and incorrect answers on the homework tonight. Actually today, because in about 9 minutes we're going to be done with the notes and you guys will have time to work on your homework. I know, right? That's weird. So we do 25 divided by 4 and we get $6.25. Since you're being paid every quarter year, you are entitled to $6.25 for quarter one. The bank is putting $6.25 in your bank account for that time. For quarter two, we have a new balance that starts at $506.25. Okay? $506.25. To find the simple interest of our new balance, we need to multiply what we have our balance as, multiply that by 0.05, because we need to find our simple interest. And once again, with that product, we're going to divide it by 4. So we get $25.31. That's how much interest you would earn from that amount all year. But it's not a whole year that we're looking for. It's just one of the quarters, isn't it? Divide that number by 4, just like the other one that we did above it. So each time that you find what the interest would be with your new balance, you're going to divide it by 4 if you're finding a quarter. So we have 25.31 or $25.31 divided by 4. And people with calculators out right now, what did you get, Cole? 3,275. And since we're dealing with money here, we're only going to go to the 100th spot. And here's a situation where your group is really rough at rounding. So you're going to the thousands digit for this one. And if it's 5 or above, give the hundreds a shove. If it's 4 below, just let it go. So we look to this guy. Is it above 4? Okay, so that means that the one next to it gets one more. If it's above a 4, give it one more. That's how you round correctly. And the reason that you guys are so rough with that is because something between switching things that are covered in different years, you guys didn't get reinforced with that at some point. Yes?
Why are we multiplying the number by 0.05?
Because the interest rate that we were introduced to right here, the rate is 5%. Yep. Good question. Asked why are we doing that 0.05? Because that's the interest rate. Now add the previous balance of 506.31 to why does that say 506.25? Yeah, this should say 25. So plus 6.33, and rather than getting out my calculator, I'm going to get out my 3rd grade math. $512.58. $512.58. So now we have $512.58 in the bank after quarter 2. So that would be like last Friday, if you opened up a bank account that with $500 and you had 5% compounded interest in June, January, February, March, April, May, June, So at the beginning of July, you would have $512.58 in your bank account for doing nothing, just having your money chill there. Wouldn't that be nice? Right? You don't have to do anything. Here, take this money. And next time you take it out, you have more. You're like, huh, all right. I love this place. Now we have $512.58 in the bank after quarter 2. Find the quarter 3 balance. We follow the same formula. Follow the same formula. Now that's something that a lot of you struggle with all first semester. Rather than following the same formula, the ideas, we would not look at our notes, we'd just do whatever, and a lot of times, not so much in this class, but a lot of times people get zeros on their homework when you have like 20 questions because you didn't look at your notes at all. So we have 512.58. This is our old balance. We need to multiply it by, this is our balance going into fourth quarter. We multiply it by 0.05 and we get $25.99. But that would be if it were a yearly interest. It's not a yearly interest, it's a quarterly interest, so we have to make a quarter of that amount, and it's $6.41. So we have our balance going into the third quarter. We add our interest that we earned in the third quarter, and we have our new balance of $518.99. Are there any questions about that? I want you to find quarter 4 right now. No. How many of you do not have calculators today? Wow. Okay, I don't have enough. So you can still do it. You know how to multiply by decimals. You had it the 6th grade and this year. All right. I'm going to freeze it for the students, but I'll show YouTube the correct answer. I'm going to stop the video.